This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Membership means more with American Express Business Gold. Earn 4 times membership rewards points in your top 2 eligible spending categories every month, including eligible U.S. advertising purchases and select media, and U.S. purchases at restaurants, including takeout and delivery. What are you waiting for? Get the card that flexes with your spending every month. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
We do date days. I try to do stuff, throughout the year for her. But even the stuff I do throughout the year for her, it's not like I'm doing something every day. I doubt anybody is showing some romantic gesture every single day. So the whole argument that you don't need a holiday, no, you don't. But you don't need a holiday to celebrate yourself. But come your birthday, you popping bottles somewhere, you flying yourself somewhere. So keep that same energy, especially if that's what your lady like.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm Tavares Ferguson, joined by co-host Buff and Razi. But first, I just want to do a shout out to our listeners at Inspire You and Contentville and across all podcast platforms. Thank you guys for supporting us. With that being said, fellas, what's on your minds?
I did not know that Matlock was Andy Griffin.
God,
I did not. I was today years old when I found out.
Wow.
And people are dogging me on social media.
As they should. Yes. Yes.
I just
you deserve that smoke.
Matlock was Matlock, man. I did not know. I never put 2 and 2 together that the actor Andy Griffin was Matlock. I was just like, that's Matlock. So everybody's like, oh, you didn't watch the show. I watched the show. I was at my grandmama's house. I went to my grandma's house and I had to watch it when she was watching it. Matlock, In the Heat of the Night, Andy Griffin show. Like I knew them all, but I never put 2 and 2 together that Andy Griffin was Matlock. And so people, for all the folks that are like me that didn't know, I just want to make sure that you guys know, so that you don't get drugged like I did on social media. So
all two of y'all.
It's more. I saw it on my post. It was like 5 or 6 of them. Other than that, man, Echo sucks. I will say it. As the Marvel fan in the group, or the biggest Marvel fan, it's Echo was horrible. It was worse than the Flash movie. And that's saying a lot for me. The fight scenes were okay, like you said, Buff. Vincent D'Onofrio, I can never say his name, but Kingpin, he was great, as he always is. But yeah, I found myself rooting for the bad guys in the show. That's how bad, like, the writing and the acting, or maybe they meant it to be that way. I don't know, but it was bad. So, thoughts, fellas? I know both of you guys watched it. Did you finish it? All 5 episodes?
I haven't finished it. I can bring myself to the last episode I saw. I get annoyed easily, and I don't support negative behavior. Or just like, it's just to the point, or just negative acting. Like, I can't support this show. They're going to say they got all these views and all this shit. This shit is horrible. Like, I don't want them to think that they got all these people to watch it and they should do an Echo 2, season 2. I want to stop right here. I want to make a stand. The last thing I said was a train, and the way she's like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and, I'm pretty sure her tribe, her village, her people paid for her actions. You know, like there was backlash on messing with it's not a spoiler at this point. They've had it long enough. But, you know, when you go blow up Kingpin's train and stuff like that in his operation, you know, there's going to be backlash. Mm-hmm. And so everybody that you supposedly love is at risk. And I was in there, and she just seemed like she didn't want to be accountable for her actions. And I just, like I said, I was hoping the power set and everything became better, or how I can't even understand. Do they close the gap on that better? Like
they do. They explain
the tribalism and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's different from the comics. They explain what her power set is. I don't know if it's very useful. It's kind of a sucky power set. Think Black Panther and how, you know, you get the lineage of all the Black Panthers type thing. So really, they just used his power set when we really think about it. But they were acting like it was something new. But she just, you know, her powers echo through time. Yeah. So that's essentially it.
Maybe I haven't got to the point. Last thing I saw was you kind of seeing her power set when she escaped the train and stuff like that. But I was like, this is stupid. But Buff.
Nah, I'll be brief. I didn't like it. I kept waiting for a payoff. That was never a payoff. It's not good. So I wouldn't even finish it if I was you, Ferg. And Marvel has lost its way. They've lost their way. Mm-hmm. Maybe they shouldn't have gone with this whole multi-dimension universe. I don't know what it is, but they've lost their way.
What was the last good Marvel movie?
Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of up there, but they haven't had a real hit probably since Endgame.
Yeah, this entire Phase 4 and half of Phase 5 has just sucked. It hasn't been.
Yeah, there have been
entertaining movies. There have been strong 7s, right? Like there have been movies that you're like, okay, it's not bad, it's not horrible, I can watch it, it's watchable. Doctor Strange was okay. You could watch that. Black Panther 2 wasn't horrible, especially during the COVID, times. It was okay. And then Guardians of the Galaxy. But then you look at some of the others. Like I still haven't seen the Marvels. That's how much I don't care about that. So yeah, it's been pretty bad.
So we still not ready to be honest about Black Panther 2 yet. Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah, I'm with you. Black Panther 2 was
it wasn't good.
Par.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I give it was.
I give them a pass because of the hand they was dealt. I mean, your lead character is gone. I give them a pass, but it wasn't good.
And you're filming during COVID.
That had nothing to do with it. Like they had what's my girl named Ironheart. They introduced her and they didn't even really fit her into a real storyline. They literally just brought her into the movie to say, hey, she's going to have a show later on down the road. So let us show y'all who she is real quick. She was useless in the movie.
What comedian, it might have been Cat Williams again, was talking about they didn't have to kill off Black Panther. It was like, I know people would have been a little hurt with the change of characters or actors, but it's like no other superhero die when they die. Like when they, when something happened, Christopher Reeves, they didn't had 1,000 Superman since then. Like it's always
like 9 Batmans.
So why does this one character have to die? We'd have been
I
a
do
little
like in the movie how they kind of took care of that though, right? Like his son is T'Challa as well, so they get to carry on with it without recasting that T'Challa. So I'm okay with what they did if they had made the storyline a little bit better, because even in the comics this happens. T'Challa could have got a Black Panther, sir. Yeah. So I get it, man.
We could have got a Black Panther.
It wasn't horrible.
A Black Panther.
There was some really good like visuals in it. The music was still pretty good. And you know, you say that it didn't matter, COVID didn't matter, but if you look, that's why the set pieces were so blah. Like you never saw a scene where there was more than like 20 people or whatever, right? It's like a lot of what was happening during COVID is what happened that like messed up the show. Like the storyline wasn't bad. It really was just that what they had to do. So I give them a little bit of a pass, but it wasn't a horrible movie. But no, it wasn't great. I mean, it's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 put that phase on his shoulders and carried it.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, all right. That's all I really had other than for all the Houston, Texas, down south, like screw music loving folks, Slim Thug, Mike Jones, and Paul Wall, they announced the Steel Tipping Tour. So if you're into that, you like screw music, whatever, check them out. They'll be on tour this year, later this year. They haven't announced dates or whatever yet, but it's coming. So just want to throw that out there for the folks who do like that. You know, get you some swangers and vogues and, you know, Ghost Ride the Whip or whatever they say down there. Or, you know, better than I do. Or do you not?
He's still disgusted at Black Panther 2. That boy is sat all the way back in his chair. That's all you got, Razi?
That's all I got, man.
So I just want to remind everybody, we're 1 week closer to the boom boom. Three Brothers No Sense will be in Mobile on a float, Skinny Monday. Look for us, check us out. We're going to have some throws and whatnot for you. So the NFL, so Peacock paid $110 million to stream an NFL playoff game last week. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. A lot of people were complaining about it, but the numbers say it was a win. 23 million people streamed it, the most streamed event ever. And it actually was up. So 6% more people watched it on Peacock than they did at the same game this time last year. It was Jacksonville and San Diego on a Saturday evening. It's 6% higher this week on a streaming app that people had to pay for. So that's not good in the sense that it's possible the NFL could go to kind of like how boxing is, like pay-per-view Super Bowl. We may be looking at that if they keep doing well on streaming apps like that. So just look out for that. And also, Nikki Haley, man. Nikki Haley, she's running for president, former governor of South Carolina. I just want to point out, I mean, we all have our hypocritical moments. Razi likes to point out how I did the Tooth Fairy, but don't do Santa Claus. I still stand on that. But her hypocrisy, man, it's just so. Don Lemon got in trouble when he said that she was past her prime, citing her age. And of course, she took advantage of that and said, you know, liberals are the one who are really sexist, and, you know, they hate to see a woman, you know, of a certain age try to be successful, this, that, and other. She ran with it, whatever, like that. She's on an interview with Dana Bash last week after the Iowa caucus, and she cited, and she's done this before, but I really paid attention this time. She cited Joe Biden and 45's age more than once. I mean, we have two 80-year-olds. Do we really want two 80-year-olds running the country? So it's okay when you do it, but it's a problem when everybody else do it to you.
Yeah, but they're 80.
Yeah, they're 80. But if you're against ageism, you're against ageism.
Yeah, I mean, I'm against ageism, but you know, at a certain point, you got like, come on now.
So
you're the leader of the free world. Come on now.
That's all I got, man. Wanted to be. I was long-winded last week on my opening topic, so that's it.
Oh, did you want to tell Trump won his first primary, right, or a caucus?
Trump ain't just win. He ain't win.
Yeah,
he came through and crushed the building.
Yeah,
is that any of that surprising?
It's not, but it's
surprising.
It's telling of what's probably going to happen is that he will get the nom. I mean, everybody kind of knew it, but you know, when the numbers come through, it's still like, wow. You know, they've been wasting everybody's time with these debates and all of that stuff. They could have just stayed home.
Yeah. Are taxpayer dollars paying for that?
Hey, well, they canceled one because he's not doing any debates, and Nikki Haley says she's not doing it if he doesn't do it. So,
are the numbers low for the debates?
They should be.
I mean, it's not interesting.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah. Vivek,
I thought you were going to mention
out, so
when you talked about brought up Houston, I thought you were going to talk about the Texans. Buff, you talked about Kansas City, Miami. Very interesting last couple of days in football as a whole. We talked about people retiring and stuff like that. But I want to give a shout out to, first of all, the Houston Texans with a rookie quarterback, black rookie quarterback, and a black rookie coach. I think it is first year coach. I think that's just awesome. Somebody said it best the other day. The scariest thing about them is they don't realize they're not supposed to be there. Like, these boys are playing like vets. They're coaching like vets. So they have nothing to lose. So I'm not a Texan fan, but I do support what they're doing. But more so, I want to give a shout out to the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan, because they've been taking L's for a while. And I have line brothers like Ed and my late line brother Mel, who have been following Michigan football and the Detroit basketball, and of course Lions football for years. And they had nothing but disappointment. So to have won their first playoff game since the 80s?
Yeah, it's 35 years. First game in 35 years.
Yeah. That's a lot. So I wish you guys the best. You know, after Michigan winning their first championship in God knows how long, you guys you're a force in the NFC, and so I would love to see you have continued success. Keep up the good work. But outside of that, I'm anti-football right now because everything football related just annoys the hell out of me. From FAMU to the Cowboys to just everything.
What happened to FAM?
My college team, I don't know if they're going to... FAM won the HBCU championship celebration bowl. Our coach got head coach got a offer from Duke. And so he went to take, but it's not even a head coaching job. He took another job, but like money wise, you can't compete. Mm-hmm. So, and it's just been a lot of turmoil. We had up until that point what looked like the easy path to repeating. The recruiting class was strong. We had people the portal was on fire. We had people leaving Florida State to transfer over to FAM. All this stuff. And because you're starting to see some HBCU players make impact in the NFL. As a matter of fact, one of the linebackers that entered the draft last year went undrafted, but signed with the Cowboys last year and ended up getting some major playing time. I think he led the team in tackles at some point. So, as a linebacker, so knowing that you still can get that exposure and still make a difference. And so there's that, like I'm more vested in that football team than anything else right now, but that's a disappointment when you see that team being broken up. And I think some internal politics and stuff that's going on that's making it a lot tougher to accept. But
this episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
With that being said, is Sophie up?
She is. Let me see if she got a joke, though. We'll see.
Oh.
Yo.
Terrified.
Oh.
Okay, I'm ready now. Very quiet today.
What's
Too
up?
Greetings,
quiet.
Sophia.
What's up?
My mic was on mute,
Oh, that explains it.
so I apologize.
That's good. That's good.
You ready for the boom boom? You ready for Mardi Gras?
Yes.
You ready for Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
You gonna catch me some beads and some bears and some all that good
Yeah.
stuff?
My dad said if there's anything that we don't want, we can give it to him, and then he can throw it.
Shh. You ain't supposed to tell
That's
nobody
right.
that.
That's the
We
plan.
recycling.
Yeah.
I was supposed to tell anybody that.
Now they're gonna think everything I'm throwing.
Thank you
came
for
from
telling
y'all.
the truth, Sophie.
Not everything he got. He bought fidget toys. They're downstairs.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let us have any.
Oh,
All right, I heard you have a joke for us today. Is this your first joke of the year?
It is.
I think so. I think it
Let's
is.
make it a good one.
Yeah. What do you call a cow with no legs?
Lean.
Immovable.
What? No, it's called ground beef.
Yeah,
meat.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Because it's like beef on the ground because he hasn't lived.
So it's
Good one.
ground.
I appreciate that one.
I was gonna say
Yes.
beef slider.
Happy New Year, everybody.
I like that.
That's also an acceptable answer.
I was thinking about that.
I was like, lean beef, lean. Alrighty. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We're back to the question portion, the favorite part of the show, where if you're a first-time listener, this is how it goes. When you hear the question, we hear the questions, barbershop style talk. So we're shooting from the hip. We haven't prepped for these questions. So who is going first?
Sometimes we argue, sometimes we agree. Oh man. Okay. All righty. All right, as Ferg said, we are a barbershop style podcast. And that was a movie I guess that's about 15 years ago, Barbershop. Ice Cube, Cedric the Entertainer.
Probably longer than that. When
Yeah, I wanted to say 20, but 20 just felt so. I guess it was about 20. It's probably about 20 years ago. Anyway, it's a movie, The Barbershop, and there's a point in the movie.
22 years ago.
Yeah, okay. So all right, I would have been safe saying 20.
wow.
Yeah, 22 years ago. That's crazy how old we getting. So, but there's a part in the movie where Cedric Entertainer's character, he goes on a little rant, and he said, "There's 3 things black people need to tell the truth about. First off, Rodney King should have got his beat for driving around in a Hyundai. OJ did it, and all Rosa Parks did was sit her ass down." Now, by all accounts, those are some hot takes. And I, throughout the course of this show and on my social media platform, have had quite a few. I said Sade was overrated. I said that we do need a little bit of shaming every once in a while. And I've also said that America, by pretty much every measurable statistic, is not number one. I do follow it by saying that there's no place I'd rather live, but, we always say we number one. Gun violence and incarcerating people. But yeah, that's about it. So those can be considered hot takes as well. My question for you two brothers is, what is your hottest take right now?
Ooh. I
feel like
think
all my takes
mine.
be hot.
Oh, and by the way, it doesn't have
Fergie.
to be something that you said on a past episode. Just
I feel like I say it all. All my takes be hot.
yeah, so it could be something you've never mentioned on the show. I prefer it be something you never mentioned on the show, as a matter of fact. But yeah, what's your hottest take right now?
I think the biggest one, I have said it on the show, right, is when you got the right to vote, you got the right to catch these hands. So
You did say that. You did say that. Oh my god! I don't know why it sounds like you've said it so many times. You did say that.
It's still a hot take. Yeah, but
Okay.
I mean,
So, yeah, for first time listeners, explain that though. Explain that. What do you mean?
yeah. I was gonna explain that. So I want to say in the show we were talking about should you hit women or whatever, and what I was saying is I don't feel like you should just walk up to a woman, hit her. You shouldn't wail on a woman, you know. But at the same time, if you ball your fist up and hit me like I'm a man, I have a right to hit you back. And so that's what I mean by like everybody feminists out there, everybody talks about equal rights and everything like that. You have an equal right to catch these hands because I don't know. I'm 5'6", 152 pounds, right? Like when you think about that, there are women out there that actually are bigger than me and maybe stronger than me. And so this whole dynamic of, oh, just because you're a woman, I can't hit you, I can't defend myself, I vehemently disagree with. So what I said was, when you got the right to vote, when you wanted these equal rights, you equally got a chance to catch these hands. And I 100% stand by that. So there it is.
Okay. I'm a little bit more liberal on that. You don't hit me in my face or my groin area, and don't spit. Do not spit. But him me in the arm and chest, we'll see.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, it's one of those things that do I really feel like you legitimately could hurt me or you did hurt me, right? Like there's a difference of hitting me in my chest, hitting me in my arm, like, boy, stop playing type thing versus.
But in your situation, Razi, you're talking about somebody you probably know, or are you talking like somebody you know, or like you're dating a chick and she wails on you? Or maybe I should ask you that, Buff, because you seem like you're a little more understanding. So Tab does this. She hits you in the chest or she hits you in the arm and stuff like that. As long as she doesn't, what did you say?
Don't spit, don't hit me in the face or the groin area.
So random chick at insert your favorite restaurant gets upset because she wanted to cut in front of you in line and she didn't see you standing there, and she goes around, you say, excuse me, ma'am, the line starts back there, and she yells and cusses you out and slaps you.
Or slaps me. Slaps me?
Well, you know what? Just by your tone, I already know your answer.
Okay. well, she didn't slap you. She punched you. She punched you in your chest, right? Like going somewhere. I'm taking this spot.
All right. Okay. That's two very different reactions. Because slap me, it's gonna be some Hadouken going on up in there.
Yeah.
You said your rule is she hits you in your face, so we ain't gonna say slap.
Now
she punched you in your chest.
And listen, she's not automatically off the hook if she punched me in the chest. I'm just saying you have a better shot at a lesser reaction as long as you avoid the face, don't spit, no groin. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. My whole thing is I'm with you, Buff, in the grand scheme of things, but Razi, I'm still on your page because I think we don't like to play life fair. Like it's in either of the situations, your spouse, loved one comes and they hit on you, stuff like that. There's a lot that's going on there. Let's unpack it. We don't unpack it. Like, what about me made you think you should hit me? Like, and after that, like if we're in a heated battle and you get mad enough to hit me, and my wife's like super prissy, super nice and all this stuff. In the 15 years we've known it, I'm going to say she's never disrespected, right? Never disrespected. And all of a sudden you come slap me, mush me, or whatever y'all doing in these streets these days. My naturally, like, I'm caught off guard. Like, we're already arguing stuff like that. And before we get to that point, some things had to be said. So we're both heated, right? And you and my wife is 5'1", 120 pounds tops, right? And you do that to me. I don't know what makes people think there is some just class or just hormone or something that we have outside of love and self-control that stops us. And I'm not making an excuse, but I'm also a person that when I say I get it, I get it. Like you just like there's so many things that go behind this. You had enough gall about yourself to do this. You felt protected enough. Like you were going to try me knowing that this could happen, but you're like, you know what? He ain't going to hit me, so I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. But you don't have that same energy with other women. So all this is going through my head, like she is purposely trying me. It's not just the heat of the battle. It's you're purposely trying me. If me and either one of us got in that argument and we got close enough, we're already like, okay, if I touch Buff, this shit's gonna go left. Like it's gonna happen. If I touch Rock, it's going to go down. You don't have to like, if I push in your chest, I punch in your chest, it's like, you know what? Berg's probably having a bad day. You know, he's not really violent. Like, you don't have to calm down like this. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the same thing, but all of a sudden we're supposed to be super real men all of a sudden, right? A real man's not going to react and he knows that doesn't hurt. It's not that it hurts or hurts my pride. It's in that moment, I'm like, are you f***ing serious? So I'm with that. I'm with that.
All right. Now, what's your hot take?
My hot take is kind of twofold. It's, you kind of talked about shaming people. Like sometimes you got to hold shame. My thing is, I'm a proponent of the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. Like, we got to stop lying to each other. We got to stop sugarcoating things that are potentially hurting us, hurting each other. You know, that's why a lot of my takes are hot, because I'm not saying it's an absolute, but there's a part of the truth that we're not considering. We don't talk about these things. So even, you know, shaming, stick with that. I'm not saying that you can't be a sexual creature. You can't be a sexual being. I'm saying realize that there are potential outcomes that come with that. And don't get mad at me for having my opinion and my standard based off of the freedoms that you think you should be able to do whatever you want. And then I'm wrong for having an opinion on your actions. You have an opinion about my opinion on your actions, but I can't have an opinion on your actions. You know, you can't fat shame people. Women have every term under the sun to describe their bodies and support their bodies. Niggas are fat. Niggas are husky. There's no positive imagery for fat guys. Like if you're out of shape, let's stop. You know, I'm not saying you have to be skinny. I'm saying but let's not normalize some of the things that we normally would say, because what's happening is people are saying these things behind your back. People are saying, boy, I can't believe she got that on. Yes, bitch, wear that. Like, it's all like they're saying it behind your back. And you're a beautiful woman, and there's so many things that you can wear and so many other things that you can do to accentuate your beauty. You know, any of those things, you know, I have to, you know, but we can't talk about body shaming, but you can talk about us being short. You can talk about, you know, you can talk about size. You can talk about all these things that come to men. We have to deal with whatever you say it is the truth about us. Whatever it is, that is our truth. There's no protected society for niggas with little dicks. Them niggas gotta pay. You know, that's just their world, right? It is what it is. You know, like, but if women are flat chested or whatever, or you know, like, see, that's all y'all care about is big tits, big ass. Like, you're shamed for these things. You know, like the truth hurts. It is what it is. And if you're a nigga with, you know, small pecker, then you know, there's gonna be limitations to your life as well. Like, you gotta accept the truth. You know, it is what it is.
I don't really have a lot of pushback on that one. You got anything for that one, Razi?
Nope. Facts. All facts.
All right, so mine is I believe mine is going to be a bit divisive. In fact, I'm probably going to be on an island on this one, as a matter of fact. But here we go. My hot take is I'm not 100% sure that therapy is working by and large. I see no statistical data that suggests with the push that I've seen for therapy, and we've done it on this show and we will continue to do it on this show because I do believe that people should be in it. We always say if you take care of your body physically, you should take care of your mind as well, and your emotions and everything that go with that. But I am seeing very little statistical data that suggests with the amount of push that we are suggesting and pushing people and tearing down the stigma of going to therapy, I'm seeing very little results.
I agree. But my pushback is real therapy with real intent and real dedication works. It's the same way you see fat people in the gym every goddamn day.
That's true.
Yeah, people that go to the gym.
We've seen more gyms pop up in the last 20 years than ever before.
Diets, all
obesity continues to climb.
Yeah,
that's a great
point.
Because
it's when it's a fad. To say you have a therapist or something like that, I would say therapy definitely has helped me uncover and deal with a lot of stuff. Even last year, like I was depressed, clinically depressed, and I had to. Luckily, I didn't have to get on any medication or anything like that. But therapy helped me through it. Therapy, but it's you have to be dedicated the same way. I have a gym membership. I go to the gym, but not like I was. I can tell the difference in me when I was committed, bought in, and I was going to the gym versus I'm gonna go to the gym next week.
Life, man, life be happening.
Yeah, and so I think, it's social media. People have therapists. I know plenty of people that went to therapy and they wanted their therapist to be their friend. And there was a post where it was a female therapist, and she was talking about a lot of women in therapy too. And it goes back to the accountability thing, especially when she see couple therapy. She said she's lost more. She realized when she looked back at her books, when she started losing more of her clients, especially in those couple therapies, when it got to the point where she pushed back or she tried to make the wife or the girlfriend be accountable, it was, she's taking your side. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't like me and all. And so a lot of people will leave therapy because nobody wants to be told they're wrong. Therapy is some hard truth. Life is some hard truth. When you realize that, you big bone and you can go to the gym every day and you ain't gonna lose so much weight. You only gonna lose so much weight, but you can be healthier. You can be toner, but you'll never be back. You'll never be a size 6 again, right? But your body reacts differently. You have more energy. There's positivity to it, but you have to accept your truth. And therapy is one of the biggest things with therapy is accepting those truths. And a lot of people get out of it. Ask how long people. I would love to see how long people stay in therapy and how committed they are. And even with me being committed, there's things my therapist asked me to do that don't necessarily coincide with my life. Like, he wants me to journal things. I'm not a journaler. Would I be further along? Would I be better? Yeah. So therapy can work, just like anything can work. Exercise without dieting, right? You go to the gym, but you don't diet. That's what explains this. Right? I think people think therapy is the cure or the fix all. It's a process. It's a journey. And Razi kind of hits on that all the time. What
you got, Razi?
Like you have to leave, just kind of what we talked about. Was the last episode 4 last? Like it's a journey. And I think with therapy, when it comes down to it, it'll get you back out of that trough, but it's not gonna get you to where you're like, oh, I'm just super happy. I agree with you. I haven't seen where it's like I go to therapy, so now I'm this, love guru walking on cloud 9 type thing. That I've never seen. Like I said, my therapist got me out of that trough. They got me through those hard times, like Ferg said, right? Through the depression and all of that stuff. It got me to where I can function, but it didn't make me happy. And so there's that journey. And I know a lot of people say they've gone to therapy or they have a therapist and haven't seen their therapist in a year and a half, right? They went to a therapist twice 2 years ago. So, yep, they went to therapy and they think that's it. And, it's one of those things that you got to keep working at it. You're going to have good days, have bad days. Sometimes you got to call your therapist. Oh, I'm good. I don't have to call him for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, boom, I got to call my therapist, right? Like, that's the thing. It's that having that person to talk to. Some people don't need a therapist because they have somebody else that they can confide in or whatever. And that gets them to that point where they're good, right? And they're not going through that low point. But, another hot take, you were like, everybody needs a therapist, right? Like, everybody isn't trained to do it.
Yeah, I mean, but do you think about it, like, a lot of times the people you're confiding in are the people who are going to give you the advice that you want to hear. Going back to what I was saying when the therapist was, she was, I wish I could find the video, and she was talking about the fact that when she gave a little pushback, it was a complete 180, right? It's like now all of a sudden this woman who thought you were going to be her saving grace becomes like, she feel like you're her worst enemy. And so if Byron's confiding in me and I'm sitting there like, yeah, man, I don't know why Tab would do that, women don't get this. I'm giving you the fuel you need versus, me saying, you know what, bro? I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but what is Tab really asking you to do? What does that mean in your relationship? Like really asking those tough questions that make you self-check. And then my last thing on this is, you said you're never happy. I think our expectations of therapy might be skewed too. Mm-hmm. It's I'm gonna be happy and all of a sudden be this relationship guru and my relationships are gonna be so much better. It's like, yeah, you maybe therapy for you is you just learn how to deal with your emotions or recognize your triggers a little bit better and how far you're willing to go. I'll never be a bodybuilder.
So I hear you guys and I agree with most of it, but I guess what I'm saying is, first off, I think we may need to add the caveat when we tell people to go to therapy is you really shouldn't go to therapy until you're ready to be honest. Because like in Ferg's example, when you're talking to your friend about how your wife pissing you off, that's usually because you're skewing the argument in your favor. You leaving out some details. So if you have a reasonable friend, then yeah, he may take your side. But if you give him the straight up unfiltered truth, you have a reasonable friend. They gon' dog, you wrong on that one. You wrong. What if Tabitha did this? What if Z did that? How would you feel? You know what I mean? So I think before we tell people to go to therapy, we need to push out. You have to be ready to be honest, because if you go to the therapist and you're not telling them everything and you're going to skew it your way, then yeah, they're going to confirm your bias, tell you you're not going to have any type of accountability. You're not going to change. You're going to continue to think you're right. But I'm looking at, like I said last week on the show, we had the most suicides ever in 2022. People are more depressed and more unhappy than ever before. And so I'm looking at all of these different pushes and things to go to therapy and how everybody is saying they're in therapy. And yet we're getting more and more unhappy. So I'm not saying that therapy doesn't work. I'm just saying right now, I'm not seeing the results.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on some great points.
The negative things are outpacing the therapy and the folks that's going to therapy. I think that's a little bit of it too.
Yeah.
Your social media, you talk about that. All the triggers are there, and it's outpacing me going to therapy. I think that's it.
I'm glad you brought that up too. I think social media can undo some of the gains you make in therapy.
Undo and be the cause of. So it's the fact that you might go to therapy every 2 weeks. I don't think most people are doing it therapy weekly. A lot of people are doing it every 2 weeks, maybe monthly, but you're on social media daily, hours a day. Yeah. So, how much are they undoing? And it's funny that you say that about the truth, a good therapist, they're trained to understand that most of the shit you say is skewed. A good therapist is going to give you time and work with you and let you talk as much as you want about your point of view, because they're taking notes. And when you're ready to have that real discussion, case in point, my therapist, one of our last conversations last year was me finally talking and opening up my PTSD, right? I've been going to him for 3 years. We just got to the point where we can start talking about that, right? There was other issues, other things, there was marriage counseling. It was dealing with death and all that stuff. Then depression, like all these other things. And even then, me lying to myself, because they're not going to force you into a point that you're not ready to discuss. What happens is when a lot of people get to that point that, they push back a little bit, that's when they exit stage left, right? It's, you're going to carefully say the things that you want. Just like you said, when you explain it to why Tabitha's pissing you off, you're going to explain to the therapist the same way. You may be a little bit more open, but you're going to explain to them the same way, but you leave out your part. Or, the fact that she's been telling you this for the last 10 years. And even though you started doing it 6 months ago, it's 10 years too late, right? It's, those are the things that you don't get. Good therapist.
All right, man. Y'all ain't bite my head off too bad. So
no. I mean, I get it.
No.
I get it. I agree with you 100%.
So who's next?
Razi, you can go.
I'll go. This one, Valentine's Day, cuffing season is almost over. I got my cuffing season championship belt. And so, you never know when the championship's actually going to come. But with that, usually cuffing season ends around Valentine's Day. Usually that's when the champion is crowned. For most folks who don't know what cuffing season normally runs, it happens right around the end of fall or beginning of fall into winter. That's where you're going out, you're dating, you're trying to figure out, you're whittling them down. And usually by Valentine's, you've chosen who's going to be your new boo, who you're going to cuff. That's what we call cuffing season for the listeners that don't know, and usually culminates in Valentine's Day. So ladies, if you out there and he doesn't invite you out on Valentine's Day or, spend it with you, yeah, he's probably spending it with somebody else, and that's actually who he's cuffing. Just let you know that. Anyway.
Truth hurts.
What I wanted to ask you guys,
Truth hurts.
Yep, it does. What I wanted to ask you, fellas, does Valentine's Day really matter to guys? And why or why not?
Matters to us as far as what?
Just in general. Like, does it matter to us? Do we really care about it? Or do we just do it for that? What would you call it? What did you call it, Ferg? Ceremonial gesture. Is it a ceremonial gesture, or do we really actually care about Valentine's Day?
So, this comes up every year. You have the people that say, I don't need a holiday to tell someone I love them. I show it throughout the year. The truth is, most people don't show it throughout the year. Not every single day. And if you do show it throughout the year, then you shouldn't have an issue with showing it on this day as well. So if your lady cares about it, you should care about it. I care about it to the extent that she cares about it. She wants to be acknowledged on that day. I love giving gifts and trying to, surprise her with something that I think she would like. So I'm all in as far as that goes because she likes it and I like giving gifts. So it's cool for me. Now, it's not just a woman's holiday. So I expect something too. That's how this works. So, but yeah, man, like I would be, if she one day said, hey, we ain't got to do Valentine's Day no more, I would be okay with that. But I'm not kicking and screaming because she does want to be acknowledged on it as well. So, it is what it is. But, we do date days. I try to do stuff, throughout the year for her. But even the stuff I do throughout the year for her, it's not like I'm doing something every day. I doubt anybody is showing some romantic gesture every single day. So the whole argument that you don't need a holiday, no, you don't. But you don't need a holiday to celebrate yourself. But come your birthday, you popping bottles somewhere, you flying yourself somewhere. So keep that same energy, especially if that's what your lady like.
I agree with Byron somewhat. Like, I'm not going to go against it if that is something that is important to my wife, right? But I'm also, I like to ask questions. I want to figure out with her, especially if it's like she expects me to go over the top every year. I want to better understand, why is that so important to her? Am I not giving you the love that you feel like you deserve throughout the year? You know, I sent Z something today, and they was talking about, you know, men want respect, women want safety, and she was talking about, like, yeah, you know, women aren't going to be in love every day, but, you know, one thing's like, she always feels safe with me. And I actually kind of mentioned it earlier today, haphazardly, like, in 15 years we've been together, she's never disrespected me, right? So I love my wife to death. I wouldn't trade her for the world. And we do have date days, date weekends. We try to go out and we try to enjoy each other. Valentine's, we celebrate it. We don't go above and beyond. It's not something that we acknowledge it, but it's not something that we necessarily pencil on our calendar to make it extravagant. Well, Buff, you said something interesting where you like gift giving. So we're going back to the love languages, right?
Yeah.
And so that falls more in line with Valentine's, the holidays, you know, even date nights and things like that, because you like being able to do those things is how you show your love. For somebody who's never been into gift giving or gift receiving, like myself, you know, it's not necessarily a challenge, but it doesn't hold as much weight. Like I'm more so acts of kindness, acts of service. Like I cater for people. I like to, you know, invite people to the house and, you know, cook, and like those are the things that really show me. So there's not really Thanksgiving. I'll take Thanksgiving, Christmas over Valentine's any day, just because it allows me to bring the people I love together and for me to give them service and to show how I love them. And one of my biggest love languages with my mom was always cooking. You know, that's how she's always showed me, you know, and so I cook for people. So that's my way. So Valentine's has its place, definitely has its place. I think it's, you know, it's gotten commercialized, and now with social media, back to social media and these unrealistic expectations, it takes a holiday that was already considered commercial and has put it on a whole nother level where it's a pageantry to it that for somebody like me that doesn't like pageantry gets even more annoyed, right? It's just like, oh my God, like now we're gonna, you know, it's gonna be, he bought me a yacht and we're, you know, it's all these things to prove. And the last thing is, Razi, and I think you hit on it, was like the people that say they show love every day. Like I feel like me and Z try to do a good job at the daily living. The celebrating the big stuff is probably our challenge. But for people, and I know these people personally who up the rest of the year, Valentine's, Christmas, anniversaries, birthdays are their ahas to get them back in good graces. So, you know, those big holidays that get them out of the doghouse, because the other, call it 360 days of the year, they're probably uninterested. They're not showing, and not saying you by any means, but I know people who just, you know, they go above and beyond. It's like, dude, I can't even believe you barely like your wife and you out here breaking bread. You're like, yeah, bro, I've been in a doghouse for the last 2 months, so, you know, here I go.
My way out. But the other part about it,
we're all taking Thanksgiving and Christmas over Valentine's Day too, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But no, that's like for me, for Thanksgiving and Christmas, like 9 times out of 10, I'm inviting people. Like I make a big deal with cooking, my menu, all those things since I've been in Houston, every year that I'm in Houston, my family that's in Houston and like people who don't have family here. So like I'm a host family for a lot of people. You know, there's years I might have 30, 40 people at my house. And it's a beauty for me because I have like my real family and then my Houston family. Like Fred spent, you know, pretty much every Thanksgiving with us in the last probably 6 or 7 years, right? We're getting up for Christmas. We're getting up for the holidays and stuff like that where, you know, we get to show.
But one thing, though, is like when you talk about Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything, that's focused outwardly on all those other people and not on your spouse or your significant other. And so I think that's the beauty of Valentine's Day.
I'm just showing love.
So, but with your love language, like
the way I show love,
like the way you show love, but your love language, it could be you can cook for her, right? Like cook a special meal for her, and you guys sit down and enjoy it and that type of stuff. And so you can still do that without giving gifts, because I totally agree with you, Ferga. It's like I'm not a gift giver, I'm not a gift receiver. It's not my thing, and so Valentine's Day was never a big deal for me. And it is. It's like okay, I gotta consciously do it. And I don't like doing the traditional, I got you some flowers and some chocolate. Like, you know, where I feel like you don't put any thought in that. There's no thought to just buying flowers and chocolate. And so it is kind of hard for me to just say, okay, what am I gonna do for it? And putting all that thought through it. But I think Buff, your answer was perfect. I think it's men care about Valentine's Day because women or their significant others do. I don't think guys care about Valentine's Day. We could take it or leave it. It's not like a big holiday for us. It's not something most times it's not something we enjoy. But because the significant other lights up, because they enjoy it, because they like it, that's why it holds some type of meaning for us. It's like, I really do like making my significant other happy. And that's really what I want to say is to the guys out there that are listening to that's rolling their eyes and saying, I don't want to do this. Step back and just think about, you know what? My significant other likes it. My wife, my lady, she likes it. My guy, if that's what it is, they like it. And so do it for them. Worst case scenario. Like I think that's really what it comes down to. I don't think guys like it. I don't think it's for us, but it's one of those things that you just got to roll with it.
Yeah. And so when you said, you know, the fact that, you know, the flowers and the chocolate, like you're not putting any thought into it. I'm all about putting thought into it. I'm super intentional about it, everything I do. And when you put thought into it, it's a catch-22. You got to respect other people's love language, right? You got to respect how they like to be shown their appreciation within reason. Like there shouldn't be a minimal budget that your gift should be every year. That's not the only way I can show you that I love you. Well, if you know every year you're getting jewelry, it's not, is it the thought that goes into it? Or is it at this point it's like, oh, you know, Valentine's, I'm gonna get jewelry. It's almost like a payday. Right. And versus, you know, maybe you got a piece of jewelry and you add on to it. You know, it could be maybe Pandora's not her thing, but like every year you find one piece that recaps the year in total. Like since last Valentine's, we went skydiving. So here's a skydiving freaking charm. You know, I don't know, but like those are things. And it's not that it's much. It's just the fact that I know you like receiving gifts. I know that you, and it's not about the money. I can buy you what you want, but is it the only way I can show you I love you? And I think that's what it is when it's like the only way I can show you I love you is a certain dollar amount. And I guess it's kind of level to that. And it's not my household, but the same level to men can't take me to a chain restaurant. Like this is the world we live in. Where if I can't take you to a chain restaurant, it's cuffing season. You made the championship. How much money do I got to spend on your Valentine's gift, right? You know, those are things, the stipulations versus somebody who's very thoughtful in saying, hey, I love you. I appreciate you. I honor you. I cherish you. And I want to show you this. Because I know niggas that make grips and they'll buy you what they want and put no thought into it just to appease you. And like they care less about Valentine's than all three of us on here. but they might spend more on Valentine's. Hell, they'll buy their wife and their lady a nice gift, right? And so just calling a spade, the truth hurts, right? But she feels special because he spent all this money on a bag, right? And it's like, that's nice, but she got the matching bag. You know, she got the same gift. It's not always about the dollars and cents to me.
Yep.
It's just the way I think. All right, fellas. Anything else, Buff? You are the Valentine's guru. Give us a pointer for any of the young men who are getting ready to enter their cuffing championship. Any of us longtime husbands. As
with anything you celebrate, just listen to your woman. Just listen throughout the year. Pay attention. And it's not necessarily always a gift. It's like it could be doing something. Just like you said, you like to cook for Z. Like it wasn't Valentine's Day, but I did that for her and Jasmine actually, and made it like a fake restaurant in here. I had jazz playing, candle lights lit. I had a menu printed up. Brought them appetizers, took their plates. Brought them like dinner rolls, a salad, main entree, dessert. So just try to be creative when you can, not just necessarily on Valentine's Day, but anytime you get ready to celebrate something. Make sure you listen, man, and put thought into it. I think, like Ferg said, that bag might make her happy the first time, but if that's what you're getting every year, then.
And it still might make her happy, but is it just the fact that does she appreciate the bag more than she appreciate the fact of that you're doing something for her? Like, hell, if I got her a bag, would she be appreciative, right?
And that's why I like gifts. I like knowing that without me saying, hey, this is what I want for Christmas, or hey, this is what I want for my birthday, without me having to say that, you've paid attention, you've listened, you've seen my life. She got me tickets to a Deontay Wilder fight in Brooklyn, New York one time. She know I love boxing. One of the best gifts I ever got for my birthday. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Listen to your partner. Take an interest in what they like so you'll know what to get.
Let's go ahead and close it on out, fellas.
So definitely this episode will probably be called Truth Hurts. I think we've said that several times. But all I got, man, is this whole, I picked on Nikki Haley at the top of the show, but this whole what was the reason for slavery, and then follow up with, has America ever been racist question, is whipping politicians. Like, they asked Nikki Haley that question. I feel like she failed it. They asked Kamala Harris on The View, VP Harris on The View, and I feel like she failed at it as well. It's simple. Yes, America has been racist. We had an entire abolition movement, an entire civil rights movement because of racism. Yes. And then if you want to add the political language, but luckily we made strides and this, that, and other. We're no longer a racist country, whatever, but it's such an easy question that's whipping politicians. 45 says that any president should be immune. I can't remember if Razi mentioned at the top of the show, but he feels like he can do whatever he wants. That needs to be reiterated, even if you said at the top of the show. Somebody running for office feels like they can literally kill their opponents and it should fall under immunity. Stop thinking he's just playing. He's not. He's not playing. It means everything he says.
That was last week. And that's what I was saying. Like, it's the scariest election season ever because one might go to jail and one might end up dead. The loser.
And so sticking with politics, I guess all three of my points on politics. Democrats, you guys seem to be struggling in the polls, but your winner seems to be abortion. It seemed like doom and gloom during the midterms for 2022, but that was not long after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and ever since that decision, despite the polls, Dems have been winning. And the same thing happened in Florida. They flipped a House seat in the state of Florida, a seat that a district that DeSantis just won. What was that, last year? Or whenever he was up for re-election, he just won it, and they flipped it to a Dem. That person ran on abortion. That seems to be y'all winner. So please, if you're trying to win and you're trying to stop 45 from becoming president, hammer that point home, because abortion seems to be a winner, and the other side has told you what they want to do with abortion rights and how they want to control women's bodies. So we always say you guys are not good at campaigning and politicking. Use this issue to carry yourselves to victory. That's all I got.
Most definitely. Man, just one thing that I got. The second liner ball. Shout out to the Port City second liners. It was so much fun. It is always a good time there, man. It's growing and growing. They're about to outgrow the fairgrounds. That's how big the second liner ball is. They've opened up the extension. And so they're using like the entire fairgrounds here. And so I don't even know what venue they would go to at this point, or if it's just going to have to be that exclusive where they can only have that many people in there. I don't know of another venue that can have larger crowd, but it was such a good time, and they do such a good time, or they put on such a good show. The parade, the second line, the artists, I mean, it was just dope. So really, really enjoyed that, man. Shout out to you guys on that. Good job. I'll definitely be there next year. I plan on actually bringing a group from UAB. You guys know I'm over the Black Alumni Network, and so I want to actually have a few tables just for the Black Alumni Network, because there are a lot of UAB alums there, and I want to make sure we all kind of sit together. So if you are a UAB alum, just make sure you reach out to me. We're going to make sure we all sit together next year. And on top of that, super excited about the sneaker ball. Shout out to Inspire You on Air, Contentville, what up? Make sure you guys download that and get ready, because February 9th is going down for the sneaker ball. So if you don't have your tickets, go ahead and get them. We'll be in there. Come out, holla at us, shout us out. We want to hear from you guys. Ferg, you're going to have to talk to everybody when they come and when they walk up to you. So just be ready for that. And that's all I got, man. So just get ready, man. I love Mardi Gras season, and it is off to a good roll. So laissez bon temps rouler. I said it right this time.
Yeah, that bite. Mine is going to be very simple. Razi, your comment, your party shot last week was saying how proud of you were of Oliver on his racist post, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think of a post that a fellow FAMUan made about a year ago about about her child. And this is why it's so important to look at local politics and things like what DeSantis and our beloved governor here in Florida is doing, in Texas is doing, where as they talk about getting rid of critical race theory and talking about, slavery being, I think they're positioning as almost like an internship and stuff like that. It's one thing to lie to my child, right? It's one thing to lie to your child. But her point was, now that these things are being tested, so it's one thing to lie to your child and, say, hey, we can go teach our children the right way. It's the fact that now your kids are being tested and have to regurgitate this lie. So if you think about it, like a lot of people don't really see that part of it. If that question was on a test and your school is not teaching racism, because hell, like Byron said, you have politicians who won't admit racism existed in the country. So pretty soon racism will be eliminated from our history books. So that question gets
Florida
asked.
Is actually trying to pass a law right now that makes if you call somebody racist or anything like that, it would be considered defamation. It's actually on the docket, and they're trying to pass that law.
And so, but think about this. If Ollie would have put that on a test, and they would have marked it wrong, because there's no such thing as racism in America. That's what this really means. It's not only they're lying to our kids, they're making our kids lie back. So when you sit there and you don't look at these things carefully, I want you to really internalize what that means. If Ollie says, you know what, I'm putting because they were racist on the test, and that's the reason Ollie doesn't pass that test, because your son refuses? Or are you going to tell your son, hey, for their test, just admit that racism never happened, that slavery was an internship and you were the unpaid intern, and that we were taught skills and stuff like that? I have no idea what Razi's doing. We learn trades. A lot of black people agree with slavery and all these things. When I sat back and rewatched that, it made me really take a deeper look and saying, hey, what should I be doing? What more can we be doing? Because I never want my kids to have to regurgitate that. So
there's a school in South Carolina started by a group called Moms for Liberty that'll have like a MAGA curriculum, Make America Great Again curriculum. And it's taxpayer funded. It's a charter school in South Carolina, Moms for Liberty. So I can only imagine what they're going to be teaching.
And if they want to send their kids there,
yeah,
you know what? Once again, I can't stop you from doing what you're going to do. If you want to teach your kids that America's always been great and to make it great again, that's fine. But when I'm forced to tell my kids that America is great and has always been great and slavery didn't exist and they were that's the problem. And not only am I forced to tell my kids have to regurgitate that, and they're being tested on that. And everything that they know as a lie, they have to stand up and repeat and embrace and learn. And, so I'm getting pissed off thinking about it. So,
yeah. I know you said for me it's no, you're going to mark that wrong and we'll just take that 95 or that 90 or we'll fail that test.
But if it's a whole test on American government and American history, and it's a whole test on the Civil War and antebellum, and all these things, and he fails that test, you can't, if you go before the school board and it's marked wrong in the curriculum, because they're going to be tested on these things, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just like, hey, slavery. These are things that will appear on their test.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to get it right or wrong. And you'll take that L, but what are you teaching him? How do you have that follow-up conversation? Well, Ali, this is because of racism that doesn't exist, and you'll be dealing with this for the rest of your life, and yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, I would never teach my son that racism doesn't exist. That's the problem. And so,
but my teacher said,
yeah, your teacher's wrong. And it is what it is. So sometimes, and ultimately, that's fine that he gets it wrong on that test. But ultimately, we always say this, right? Parents have that onus to teach our children, especially things like that. Right. If the school's not teaching it or whatever, it's on us to make sure that the kids know it. It was the pre-civil rights. It was on the parents to be able to teach that, right? Because the schools were teaching something different.
There's
a whole other. Yeah, we'll table this for the next
conversation going into.
Yeah,
and because next week it'll be going in right before Black History.
Yep.
It is. Yep.
All right. What? 3 Brothers, No Sense. 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment. Most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.